Backchat TV. Subscribe.
He has also talked about it. That left hook is so good, and it's so long and so precise and so hard, but
The following boxers have all been at the top or at least been highly rated by many and have all taken significant losses or near losses in their careers and have fallen from grace in one way or another, but who is really finished and who could possibly turn things around and become great again? Who has simply been unlucky and who is quite simply overrated? Let's find out.
What's going on, guys? It's Backchat TV and I'm back with another video. This time we're speaking about a subject which you could say is a little bit controversial. We're talking about fighters who have had bad performances, maybe some losses, coming off losses or near losses, and we're just basically having a look and seeing if these fighters are having bad performances because it's just a bad day at the office, or are they at the end of their careers. Now, some of the entries are going to be a bit controversial. It's normally based on, if they've had a few kind of controversial decisions or had a few things happen to them which might indicate maybe they're at the end of their career. But there might also be, actually I'm quite certain that there's some fighters in this top 10 that can certainly bounce back and be at the top of their careers. Let's get straight into it. Number 1, Joe Joyce, the Juggernaut. 6'5", 260 odd pounds. I think the last time he's outing, I think he was 260 something pound against Zhilei Zhang. Not the best fighter, but he has some attributes that has translated into the relative success that he's had at heavyweight. He is a big man. He has got a good engine. He has got a good style where he pressures, but he has a lot of flaws. Obviously, the one that sticks out is his lack of defense, his lack of head movement. Although he's quite fast with his feet, but his punches are quite slow. And he's been hit quite a lot of times in his career. No more than recently in his last 2 fights where he was hit quite badly by a man bigger than him. And we saw the impact. Finished, I think, in the third round against Zhilei Zhang. Was he unlucky? Was it just a poor matchup and that he can go again and rebuild at 38 years old? Or is he finished? We've got to take into consideration his age, the kind of fighters that he will be fighting in his next fight if he was to beat the next fight he's got lined up, which I think he should. And he was put back into contention after 1 or 2 more fights. Is the same thing going to happen? Is he just basically at a level where his skill set can't take him any further? Is it better for him to take less damage and retire, or should he carry on and see what he can still salvage in the sport? I'm not sure. Let me know in the comment section. I do like Joe Joyce, but I'm really not sure where he goes from here. Moving on swiftly, Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. One of my favourite fighters, to be honest. And a lot of people give him a lot of stick. They say that he hasn't got any talent and he fought a lot of people who weren't, up to his caliber and up to standard, and that's why he looks so poor. And people say all sorts of things. But no matter how poor you think Deontay Wilder is as a champion, the numbers don't lie. This guy had a limited amateur career. He came into boxing and he comatosed 40 plus men. It doesn't matter who it is, he comatosed 40 plus men. And up until his last fight against Joseph Parker, he had knocked down or knocked out every single man he's been in the ring with. That is impressive. Even if you think he can't box and he's got no skills and he's only got a right hand, that's impressive. There's no one else that's ever done that. Deontay Wilder has knocked down every single man he's been in the ring with the exception of his last fight. And that includes Tyson Fury, who beat him. Tyson Fury beat him, in the 2 encounters that they had. But he still knocked Tyson Fury down in the first fight and arguably won the first fight because some people say the count was long and stuff like that. Nevertheless, the second fight did not go his way at all. And then the third fight, he gave a better performance, but was stopped in the end. Now, we saw him take a long time off, and he's now decided to come back. He lost to Joseph Parker. He didn't take a lot of damage, but he was outclassed. Was it because he was rusty, poor matchmaking, or is he finished? Let me know. Deontay Wilder, to me, I feel can still do a lot in the sport. And one thing I liked about Deontay Wilder is that he said he wants to carry on. He said he's not going to retire, so he's not a quitter. He could have easily retired. He said he's going to put more effort in, and I saw some recent training where he's getting really fit and strong. He had a lot more muscular, and you know, he's working on new things, and that can only be a good thing, you know, if you're motivated. But he is 30, is he 38, 37, something like that? I'm not sure exactly how old he is, but he's definitely getting on in age. Like I said, do you think he's finished? Do you think there is a way back to the top for Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder? He has some decent wins. It's not all kind of B-level fighters, but most fighters, when he stepped up, he's lost. So what's that saying? Should he quit boxing? Let me know. Moving swiftly on, Errol the Truth Spence. Now, some people might say that's crazy that you would say that about a welterweight that has been completely dominant. Completely. Errol Spence has looked flawless. No one has ever looked close to beating Errol Spence. But recent events have kind of affected the trajectory of his career. I would say that he's definitely been affected by certain things that's happened. The first thing that points out to me was, you know, the lack of dedication. There were rumors of him drinking, not taking training that serious as he could. I was quite surprised by that because he seemed like someone who was quite a dedicated person. I think it started when he started liaising with Adrian Broner, which is always a bad idea. But other than that, he seemed like quite a dedicated person, to be honest. But then obviously he had the car accident. Now, the car accident, let's be honest, he was over the limit. He was drinking. So it technically was his fault. That car accident definitely took a lot out of him. Subsequently had some injuries in sparring to his eye, the broken rib, all these kind of thing, and then the massive loss, devastating loss to Terence Bud Crawford. Should Errol Spence call it a day? I think he's 33, so he's not really young, but he's not really old. But, you know, he has taken some damage. He took a lot of damage in the last fight with Crawford. He took a lot of damage against Ugas, although he beat Ugas. He took some damage against Sean Porter. You know, let me know. Should Errol Spence just give it up? You know, he's got so much damage now that that eye, you know, he could be winning a match against someone and winning every round and get hit in that eye again. You know, we already know that he had cataracts and all sorts of things. Should Errol Spence just hang it up, or should he try to mount a comeback? Poor matchmaking, or is he finished? What do you think in relation to Errol Spence? What do you think he can do in the sport? Do you think he should rematch Terence Crawford? Do you think there's any point? Does it look as if there would be a possibility of a different outcome? I'm not so sure. I don't know if I want to just put him out to pasture yet, to be honest. You know, if it wasn't for his injuries, never mind the loss, people lose all the time. This is their career, you know, it's their job, they're going to lose. But I feel like if he didn't have the eye injury, I'd like to see him back, because the eye injury is really something that can be career defining. Other than that, you know, your rib gets better. All these other kind of little aches and pains are kind of superficial to some extent, but the eye is something that's not superficial, and that's something he needs to really look at. He really needs to look at where he goes from here. He's made a lot of money. He can't beat Terence Crawford. Does he come back and fight someone else? I'm not sure. Let me know. Moving swiftly on, the man himself, Vasily Lomachenko, moved up so many weight divisions. He's naturally quite a small man, fighting a lot of bigger guys. Fighting Devin Haney, fighting now he's matched up now to fight Kambosos, who's slightly bigger than him as well. Everyone he's fought has been bigger than him, to be honest. Teofimo was way bigger than him, you know, and he's really done himself proud. I've never seen anyone in the ring more skilled, you know, more self-aware. He's definitely a Hall of Famer. But has he just gone a bit too far? 35, 36 years old, I believe. Is he at the end of his career? I mean, the loss to Teofimo was a bad loss, but then he's took another loss to Devin Haney. And he had a very close fight with Ortiz. Now he's got a fight with Kambosos. If he loses this fight, should he hang it up? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. I'm not making any predictions. I'm just saying. I mean, he's no spring chicken, and this would be his third loss now. So, you know, let me know. Moving swiftly on. Now, this is a little bit of a controversial entry. I mean, obviously, he's done great things in the sport. He's very accomplished, became undisputed at middleweight. But I don't know. Is he on the decline? I kind of get this feeling that Jermall Charlo's on the decline. And that's for a few reasons. It's not just because he got beaten at 168 pounds by Canelo. It was a weight that he's never been at. But even prior to that, you know, he didn't look great against Harrison in that loss. He was losing in the rematch before he found the knockout against Harrison. He's had some lackluster performances. And on top of that, I feel like Tim Tszyu is now... If Tim Tszyu comes through Thurman, which I think he will, I think he's the rightful champion. And I think that if they make the fight between Charlo and Tim Tszyu, I feel like Tim Tszyu wins. So if Tim Tszyu beats Charlo, which I think will happen, where does Charlo go from there? I get this feeling that he's kind of fed up with the sport. I don't think he has the same passion that he had before, maybe. I could be wrong, though. Let me know what you think. Maybe he's just taken a short hiatus after being beaten by Canelo Alvarez. And maybe he's going to come back motivated and, you know, ready to take on all comers. But I think it's a difficult road for Jermall Charlo because there's a few fighters now at that middleweight division that I think could beat him. Tim Tszyu beating one. I think, even Terence Crawford coming up, I think would be another person who would beat Jermall Charlo. I'm not sure. Let me know what you think about Jermall Charlo. He seems to have lost his way a little bit. He seems to have lost that dog. You know, he used to have that dog in him, that lion that he was talking about. I didn't see that lion when he fought in his last few fights, never mind just against Canelo Alvarez. But definitely against Canelo Alvarez, I didn't see it. But against, Castano and a few fighters, I haven't seen that dog that you really associate with Jermall Charlo. So I'm not sure about this one. Like I said, let me know in the comments. Do you think he's finished? Moving swiftly on, we've got Regis Prograis, a man who was very dominant at 140 pounds. Very dominant, a lot of power. You know, he had some great performances until he was matched up with a slightly bigger man in Josh Taylor. It was a close fight, to be honest. I think Josh Taylor edged it, and I think most people think that or feel that way. But we kind of gave him a pass, and he went on to have some good, impressive wins until he ran into Devin Haney. And now he's got a second loss, and it was a very convincing loss by Devin Haney. What does this mean? Was it just poor matchmaking? Can he make a comeback at 140 pounds? Or is he finished? You know, he's no spring chicken himself. I think he's 30, I'm not sure exactly, 34, something like that. You know, so he's getting on in age as well. There's a few people coming up, definitely at that 140 weight. There's some dangerous guys there. Matthias being one. A lot of dangerous fights. Does he get through some of these tough guys at his age now? You know, I'm really not sure if he should retire, if he should consider retirement. Let me know what you think. Moving swiftly on. Teofimo Lopez. Now, this is another strange entry. People are going to say, how can you be saying Teofimo's finished? He's only 26, I think, 26. And, he became undisputed. He's at the top of his game, yes. But his performances haven't really showed that level that he's supposed to be at. You know, if we think about it, he lost to Kambosos, and that was quite a convincing loss, although he did make a comeback in that fight, but he clearly lost to Kambosos. I also feel that he just as clearly lost to Sandor Martin, but he didn't. He got the decision, but I feel like, you know, the loss was just as clear as the loss against Kambosos. Sandor Martin clearly outboxed him. And I also feel that way in his recent fight as well. I feel like he lost that fight as well against Ortiz. Ortiz clearly outboxed him. I know a lot of people don't like the running, but he was landing shots, more shots. He landed more shots than Lopez landed. So, you know, Lopez could have really been looking at 3 losses instead of 1 loss. At the same time, he had a great performance against Josh Taylor. That was very impressive. So maybe not. Is he finished? Does he still got it, as he says? Moving swiftly on. We're moving back up to the heavyweights, the very heavyweights. We've got big baby Jarrell Miller. Another story of a prospect. He wasn't really a top fighter, but he was a prospect. He was touted as the next, you know, great heavyweight. A lot of people had high hopes for him, and his career after the lengthy drug ban, you know, that wasn't a good look. They found so many different types of enhancement drugs that, you know, it was just ridiculous. Like the whole pharmacy, he took so many things, EPOs, everything. Had a lengthy ban. He's come back. He had some lackluster performances, and then stopped for the first time against Daniel Dubois. Where does he go from here? You know, he never really made it before taking a loss, so it could be easy for him to kind of be forgotten, I feel. And if he took another loss, you know, I think things would be over for him. But even now, he's got issues with his promotional team, money management issues. Also, he has some legal issues where he attacked somebody in a car dealership, which I think is ridiculous. I don't know. He seems to be the Adrian Broner of the heavyweight division. You know, I don't feel like he can get focused. I don't feel like he can get focused enough to make a comeback. You know, I think he has obvious weight problems, which showed up in the fight, to be honest, in the later rounds. I don't think it's beneficial to be that heavy. It was a good performance in a way, even though he lost. You know, he has got good boxing skills. He's got good skills, definitely. Good confidence. He's got good upper body movement, but, you know, that lactic acid really kind of started to play a big part in the war that he had with Daniel Dubois, and end of the day, he just wasn't fit enough. He's definitely going to need to implement some kind of discipline in his life, and I think that is the most difficult challenge for Jarrell Miller, the discipline. But yeah, let me know what you think. Was it just a poor matchup? Was he just unlucky? All the things that he's been through? Or is he finished? Moving swiftly on, we've got another man who could do no wrong at one point. Touted as one of the great talents at 140 pounds. He won so many different belts and undisputed. He could do no wrong, like I said. But after having a great win over a tough opponent in Regis Prograis, things kind of went a bit downhill. He had a very controversial win. He was given a controversial decision over Jack Catterall. Most people think that Jack Catterall won. It's kind of unanimous almost that people think that Catterall won. The only person who thinks that Catterall didn't win is Josh Taylor. He still says that he didn't lose that fight. And I suppose it depends on how you see it, but most people had Catterall winning. Then obviously he had a rude awakening against Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo was faster than him, slicker, hit him with some big shots. I think he was tailor-made for Teofimo, because Teofimo kind of seems to me like he likes aggressive fighters that come forward, and Josh Taylor has just got that aggressive style. You know, no matter how much he tries to kind of implement a bit of boxing, he always wants to mix it up and come forward and throw bombs, and I think, you know, that played into Teofimo's hands, but Teofimo won quite clearly. And then obviously, you know, we've got the controversial loss with Jack Catterall. Is Josh Taylor finished? Is it time for him to move up? Let me know what you think. And last but certainly not least, we've got Tyson Fury. Is Tyson Fury on the decline? Now, I know he hasn't taken a loss yet, but we have seen some suggestions in the ring that he's not the man he used to be, and this has been going on for a while, this steady decline. You know, he went life and death with Otto Walling, and we saw what Anthony Joshua did to Otto Walling. Even early on in his career, he got dropped by Cunningham, a man who was barely a cruiserweight. We recently saw Tyson Fury get, dominated at certain times in the fight against a man making his heavyweight debut in Francis Ngannou. We saw him get dropped a few times against Deontay Wilder. We've seen him get hurt in sparring. We've heard rumours of him getting hurt in sparring. Is it coming to an end for Tyson Fury? Tyson Fury is no longer this dominant figure, I feel. And, he's up against a man who hasn't put a step wrong in the boxing ring, in Alexander Usyk. Personally, I feel that Alexander Usyk wins this one hands down. Tyson Fury has not looked good at all. Even his biggest supporter, John Fury's father, is actually saying the same thing, that Tyson Fury has declined and he's going to have to change a lot of things, not just his training, mental, tactics, everything. He said it's all wrong, and I would be inclined to actually agree with John Fury on this occasion. But let me know what you think. Has it just been unlucky matchmaking? I personally feel like he's never really fought like high-level fighters, to be honest. He fought Klitschko, but he didn't rematch him. Apart from Klitschko, we've seen what's happened with Deontay Wilder, how easily Deontay Wilder was handled by Parker. And other than that, I can't think of any real top name that Tyson Fury has really fought. I think his resume is just as weak as Deontay Wilder. And people speaking about Deontay Wilder's resume being weak, I think Tyson Fury's resume is weak. I think Anthony Joshua needs a lot of respect on his name for fighting almost everyone. If you look at Anthony Joshua's resume, it is the best in heavyweight boxing. So people who talk about Anthony Joshua being finished, I'm not so sure. I think Tyson Fury is closer to being finished than Anthony Joshua, to be honest. But these are controversial opinions. Let me know what you think on my top 10 of fighters. Unlucky, poor matchup, or are they finished? I'm on to the next one.
I said, guess who's back? Man, guess who's back? I said, guess who's